I think we've got Siro up to the stage. So with all the effort that you possibly have, give these people a massive round of applause. Come on up. The music is so good.
Hello, everyone. I am Jake, founder, CEO of Siro. Very happy to be here. We are the AI process management platform for dealerships' in-person teams. Right, so that's the buzzword description. What we really do is your team, specifically your F&I managers and your service managers, they use their phone or tablet or computer to record their customer conversations, kind of like voice memo. And then our AI uses that recording, kind of like a ChatGPT or a Claude on top of all your recordings, to coach them. So your folks are being coached while also Siro is surfacing to your management layer and to your leadership a scorecard that shows for every conversation is every product being offered to every customer every time, while also flagging compliance risk. So that's what Siro does in a nutshell. The reason that we focus on these in-person conversations, and the reason there's so much buzz around this tech in our company at the moment is because you spend so much money to get people into your dealership that you need to make the most of those conversations, while also minimizing risk to your brand and also risk to compliance. So the reason people use Siro is because today you can't be in every conversation at once. You can't enforce that everyone is following the process. People are offering every product to every customer every time. Additionally, you don't know what's moving your numbers. You'll see your PVR move, you'll see your RO value move, but you don't know the why behind it except for a few anecdotes that your team is telling you. Now with a tool like this, when AI has every customer conversation captured, you understand exactly what's going on. Plus, you can be proactive about compliance. Instead of sitting back and waiting for the FTC to send you some bad news, you now can catch bad behavior early, monitor it, and proactively correct it. So again, what Siro does is your team uses it to record their in-person conversations. So yes, when you are in the AF&I office, or if you're in the service drive, your team is using their phone and starting a recording using our app, or maybe it's a tablet, or if you're in the F&I office, you're at your computer, and people are starting a recording, again, kind of like voice memo. We transcribe it, and then our AI is like a special ChatGPT or Claude on top of all of your conversations. So that's what it's doing, so it can surface to you a scorecard to make sure every product is being offered to every customer every time, and it flags compliance risk. But the numbers are the most compelling part of this pitch. 17% is the average PVR lift that dealerships on Siro see. That's not a cherry-picked number. That's not just one case study we did. On average, dealerships who have implemented Siro in their third month see that their PVR is lifted by 17%. Also compared to control groups. It's still robust to control groups. So with that stat, I don't think it is too bold to say the biggest lever, the most impactful thing you can do for your dealership or your dealer group this year is implement Siro. And you'd be in good company. In the last 6 months, we've gone from 11 dealerships to over 500 with some of the most respected dealer groups in the nation on the platform. So if this is interesting, I'd love to chat. You can find me or someone on my team. And we could also hang out at Topgolf later tonight. Thank you.
If you want to stand over that way so we can drill you, these cats, and anybody who ever raises their mic to their face first, or if, here we go, Brandon's got a question, hit him with it.
Yeah, so thanks for the presentation, great job. As we think about investments, a lot of the time, we have a lot of point solutions that are trying to be platforms. Maybe you could just talk about the product expansion opportunities. You're in service today, you do a lot in F&I. Is the plan to go deeper into those segments with what you do today, or maybe expand to new use cases or departments?
I envision Siro covering all of your customer conversations in the dealership. So it's got in the F&I office, in the service drive, and soon also the sales team, so that you have all of the customer touch points digitized. And then if you're sophisticated enough to have your conversations recorded over the phone, or your phone calls, which I highly recommend, we also pipe those into Siro. So you have the full 360 of a customer's interaction with your dealership captured into a tool. Our tool, or if you have another tool that you like, another agent, we API sort of into all of your other tools. So the end goal that we're trying to build for dealerships is you have all of your customer touch points tracked. You've already got the website traffic. You've already got the email text. This is a missing piece that we are plugging. Capture the conversations that are today carry really rich information, but are not being recorded.
I'm going to ask a question on behalf of the dealers in the room that I stole from Chris earlier. What does it cost and what do you replace?
What does it cost? What do you replace? If you currently use cameras, which about 30% of the folks who I speak to are using cameras in the F&I office, this will replace that. But if you don't use cameras, or you're implementing this in the service side, it's not replacing anything. This is a new piece of tech that you're adding in. The value that it gets is that it makes any of your trainers, your management layer, way, way more effective. And you'd probably be surprised, maybe a little scared by some of the things you see as going on in your dealership that was not visible until you kind of turned on the light. Cost, I didn't say.
Yeah.
Cost is, if you look at it on a per F&I manager or a per sort of service manager basis, it's a few $100s per person per month. Of course, we bill on a per rooftop basis.
So you're recording conversations, so I'm going to assume that you've covered all the two-party consent states. So my question is around when you identify hidden compliance risks or performance issues, what happens after when you identify those? What do you give to the dealer to help after you identify those issues?
There's direct coaching to folks in the field, and there's also supporting your management layer to be more effective at their jobs. So the direct coaching is, and this is what tends to drive the most behavior change, is when the people on your team are using Siro, talking to it like they talk to ChatGPT or Claude to get better. Hey, what am I doing well? What could I be doing better? What's that other person doing that I could be leaning into so I can make more commission? So Siro directly drives some behavior change as people engage with it. But we are also empowering your management layer to do their job better. Because if you're an F&I director, you probably have like a vague idea of who is doing things right versus poorly. You have a sense on like who's really buttoned up versus who's probably entering the gray area more often. But that's just like sort of a vague notion that's hard to action on. Siro gives you the exact data, the reality of what's going on. Yes, this person is simply never offering maintenance. They didn't say it in the last 20 conversations. So with that information, it's up to your leadership, the F&I managers, or the F&I directors rather, to figure out what to do with it, which often means have a one-on-one with that person. Leave a comment on one of their conversations and say, hey, this is where you should have offered this product or described it this way instead. So it's mostly up to the dealership or the dealer group on how they want to enact or act on this information.
Nick, great job. You talked a little bit about price and pricing per seat, per person at the dealership. Talk a little bit for those dealers in the audience, how should I be thinking about the ROI I'm going to get as a result of that spend?
The ROI on the spend, I'd say if you math in, what does 17% PVR lift do for you against a cost of like a couple $100s per person per month is like the quick back of the envelope math. Of course, pricing is a little bit different depending on people's scale and their exact setup, but that's how you can do the sort of back of the envelope math. And then when you pencil it, the ROI is usually very, very obvious. And then it becomes a matter of, one, who in the business needs to hear about this to drive change? How do you actually get budget for something like this? That's something that you'll have to figure out in order to get this tool implemented. And the second one is, at what point do you have time to implement this? Of course, my team, where we take pride in making the implementation very, very easy. We were talking with Scott from Cochrane about how they implemented from one location up to 38 over the course of a couple of months. So we try to ease the burden, but also if it's just not the right time because you're going through a leadership transition or something, then it's not the right time.
Two questions similar, kind of on the investment thesis side. What's the biggest risk to your business right now? What are you seeing as risk and market volatility or things that could come after your business? And then similarly, are you hyper-focused on the retail automotive vertical, or are you multi-vertical?
Business risk and vertical focus. Business risk, I'd probably say there's two. They're sort of related. The biggest business risk is that we do a poor job executing. Now, we've got an 80-person team, or 90 now, in New York. I think we have some of the best engineers in the world working on our product, so I would back us. But the space is moving very quickly, and if our engineering team were bad, or if we didn't invest in them and our product stagnated, we would not be keeping up with the state of the art of the technology, which is advancing very, very quickly. So that's one risk, is that we just can't keep up and a competitor pops in and flies by product-wise. I would bet against that, but that's a risk worth considering. The second one is that a Claude or an Anthropic just sort of like does this all themselves. Like, what if ChatGPT competed against us? I think that's also low risk because there's a huge world that the foundational models are going after, and it's just too hard for them to focus on this market and build some of the market-specific functionality that you need to build, such as a robust DMS integration. So those are the business risks. Second question, verticals. Siro serves a variety of different verticals. Automotive is our primary focus. We originally started in the home improvement space, so like roofing, windows, pest control. Brands you've probably heard of like Great Day or Pella or American Standard. You've probably seen their toilets around. That was our bread and butter when we first started. Now the majority of our focus is in the auto space, and we also have clients across med devices, medical aesthetics, like people who give Botox, real estate, senior living, multifamily home, etc. Our mission as a company is to make in-person sales the most accessible path to financial freedom, which means using our technology to give every single person who meets with customers in person, face-to-face, the support that they need to succeed in their job. Which historically, without this technology, there's no feedback loop. There's no one to really coach you, which is why everyone here has had the experience of hiring a lot of people and many of them not working out in the customer-facing roles. Everyone here has the experience of a couple of top performers are really driving everything, and there's a long tail of folks who are not doing a great job. And our thesis as a company is that the reason you have that big difference in performance is because most people aren't able to get enough support or the right support to succeed, which is where our technology comes in.
Give him a hand. Judges, go ahead and enter your scores. Pull out your app. You're allowed to pull out your phone. I know, the phone's at the conference thing. Go ahead, hit them. 2, 3, 4, or 5. Make sure you enter that in. The fancy calculators are coming right up. I've got another wonderful person coming to the stage. This was from room 2. So if you were in room 2 earlier today, you might have seen them. Woo!
Room 2.
Room 2.
Room 2.
Do me a favor and give a massive round of applause. Hopefully you've done your job and enter the score for number 1 for May. Come on up. And you've got a clock right there. Once it starts, you're rocking and rolling. Don't worry, you don't get 8 minutes. He's going to give you the 3.
Okay. So it is the year of the human, but humans, unlike like you all, I also love humans. But humans, we are not perfect. We love to talk, we love to connect, but we are terrible at the capture, especially the paperwork. Now, did you update the CRM? What's the status on that deal? What's the name of the person who wanted that white Sienna last month? Ask the right questions, fill out the guest sheet. Does that sound familiar? Now, we all lose deals, but we don't exactly know why. So, can AI save you? Well, that was for that previous slide. Can AI save you? Not without the right data. Right now, you've got garbage in, garbage out. And there's a part of your dealership that you can't even see. Your showroom is a black box. Right now, Steve, back home on the floor having his conversation, not in the CRM, no notes. It's the most expensive lead that you have, and it's invisible. Not anymore. May is making auto easy. It is a showroom floor tool that is powered by the human-to-human conversations that make or break your deals. And it's so easy to use. You download an app, May listens and understands your customer, automatically updates your systems, including your CRM. It builds you guest sheets with the ground truth. So no more manual intake. You don't have to wonder. And no chasing people. Just let the human be the human. Now, it's more than just a note taker. It is the one tool that will streamline your entire sales process from test drive, trade-ins, soft checks. It actually lowers the friction for everyone and speeds up your sales cycle. We're helping dealers capture 25% more customers in their CRM. It's giving you the data your AI and your managers, your F&I managers need to close that sale. And it's also doing it faster. They're closing more deals, and their salespeople are ramping faster, which is perfect because I know you're all hiring the iPad generation right now. Now, we are taking that floor data and connecting it to everything else. Texts, calls, emails. One system that will update the status of every one of your deals automatically. No digging for information, just the answers. So, what happened last month? Ask May. Did anyone hear our radio ad came in? Ask May. Who's the perfect person for this vehicle that just arrived on the lot? Ask May. Imagine a dealership that actually knows itself. Not what somebody said, but where that deal is right now. And I know if your salespeople leave, which statistically they do, you get to keep that customer knowledge. Everything compounds. We're also in service. We take those conversations and we capture and find those CSI risks and service sales opportunities in real time. So, May never forgets and never quits, and it makes every dollar and every human you've invested in work harder. Thank you.
Go ahead, hit them with it. Are we going down the line again, or are we going to mix it up? What's the vibe?
I vote Beth should ask the legal questions.
Okay. Well, thank you, May. That was great. So my question is, how do you think you're using AI for all of it, some of it, right? How do you think about the data and information you're using, and how do you govern it when you're using it in a dealership and it's everywhere?
So first of all, I like to think about AI as something that assists the system. We all judge what is considered AI and what's not. What's important is about consent. So we ask all the salespeople and we train them about how to talk to this with this customer. If you've been to a doctor or a lawyer's office recently, they've got signage and they also talk about it. This is what we do. Is it okay if I use my phone to take my notes? It actually protects you and protects us, and this is what it does. We capture that, ensuring that we get to keep that, maintain that for our industry, that reputation. With the information that's collected, the dealer's information is the dealer's. We don't sell it to anybody else. We know that's really important. Whatever we use to train systems, it is anonymized, deaggregated. All of our information is encrypted, if that answers your question.
Thank you. So you get the consent from the dealers to use their data for training, and then you also get the consumer's consent to use it.
Correct.
That's great. Thank you.
Could you define same day on the last slide?
Yes.
You said you transcribed the same day. Does that mean I get it overnight? Am I getting it in real time? What does that look like?
So it depends on how it's being used. So right now our system, how it works, is an on and off. So depending on, we've got service advisors, ASMs, that are using it all day. They run it for 8 hours. So if they run it 8 hours, it gets processed at the end. We've got ASMs that are doing it between every single conversation, and that is within 30 seconds, you'll get that update, and it tells you if the customer was upset. So in the first week that we ran this, we got 12 CSI risks. These are customers who are upset. They called in for a quote, and the price tripled when they got into the dealership. Someone was someone paid double for a set of windshield wipers. Those are the things that they caught before the customer actually even left.
How do you drive adoption when it requires an interaction with a device? When the fluidity of a deal is so fast, or the fluidity of a conversation is so fast, I think the beauty of phone conversations is when you pick up that phone, that thing starts. How do you drive adoption, especially on a sales floor that kind of happens in the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure a lot of us use systems like Plod, Otter. We learn and understand the value of having this information. When you first start something like this, because we've never seen this before, so when the salespeople, they see it, the first thing they wonder is like, how do I use this? Am I protected? It actually just takes them one time to use it to reach that aha moment of like, oh, I see how this is actually going to help me. This frees me up. We've had people that are skeptical. Some of our best users are actually the strongest salespeople in the dealership because they don't want to do all the note taking. They go back to back on a Saturday and they just want to be free from it. So really it is training and onboarding and showing the benefits. The benefit of me is that I've been in the industry for over 10 years. I was a GM rep. I've helped a startup grow. I've also sold cars. I understand that sales process so well. It's not just about collecting information. Anybody can collect information. It's about what am I going to do with that information for you? I understand that when a trade-in comes in, what is the value of that trade? And when we go to sell that trade, it's like selling a house. Nobody wants to buy the frat house. They want to buy the house that the couple's lived in for 50 years. I can tell the salesperson how to sell that trade to that specific customer because I have the context of both. We've had this happen. Someone wanted to buy a Sorrento, was going to shop at 10 stores. Well, if they came into our store, guess she says that this was a dentist. Dentists are meticulous. Customer bought it that day, didn't go to the rest. So those are the things that we can do more than just the collection itself. It is how you use the data to take action, and that's what we do.
So thanks again for the pitch. I guess live conversational AI is hot based on the last two. My question is, it's still an emerging technology. I bet that a lot of your customers, your dealers, do not have anything. So it's not necessarily that you're competing against a competitor in many cases. I wanted to ask you, you have some traction already. What's the biggest challenge to adoption today for this type of technology in the dealership?
It really is it's the onboarding, it's change management. You know, everybody has tried new CRM technology and we struggle with it, but eventually it kind of goes top down. You're forced to use it, but it doesn't get used well. You have to build a type of tool that the salespeople want, but it also benefits the managers and the GMs. So it's about how do we onboard as many dealerships as possible, but also ensuring that they're using it correctly and they see the value. I'm the kind of person, being in this industry long enough, to understand that you need to do that for the dealer. If you don't, you're not going to last long. So I actually intentionally take the time working with the stores. I sit on the floor. I'm there selling cars on your behalf to understand that whether this is actually going to work or not. We work very closely with our dealers and our salespeople.
Vivian, nicely done. Talk to us a little bit about how you're pricing this to dealers, and then how do you hope the dealer perceives ROI on the product?
Yeah, so the pricing comes down to, and it's a rooftop price, it comes down to, for an average store, like 10 to 15, it'll be $150 per person. So I kind of talk about it as like, it's $5 per person to clone your salesperson. Now you have all of their data and it lives on forever, which is also very important as you have a lot of managers and GMs changing, or you're buying dealerships and you're selling, that data, your database is what's so important there. The value of itself. So the story that I can share right here is we had the president of our first auto group that we expanded within like 2 months. They took over they expanded to the rest of the auto group, came into one of our stores, was like, you have 25% more leads this month. This is awesome. And Hanny, the GM, he's like, no. We have more customers in the system because this is so easy for the salespeople to follow. So the reason why they actually brought us in the first place is because salespeople are not putting the vehicle of interest in the right field. Your marketing, your CRM is going to run marketing on that vehicle of interest, and it's the wrong vehicle or it's empty. By having 25%, and we went from like 30% of vehicles of interest to 93% overnight. That means you can run proper marketing. Whatever you were spending is actually go there, and the information, the context that we have helps with that. So we've doubled their email capture overnight from 40 to 80%. So just things like that all add up.
Yesterday at the AI Summit, I contended that the offline data is the most important thing for AI continuity, marketing automation. Are you exposing the dealer's data to them via any sort of like API or MCP that sits on top of your stuff, or is it completely contained now?
It's completely contained right now.
Okay,
yeah.
So not yet. Great.
What is the average onboarding time and process? How long does it take? And how long does it take the dealership to realize some of those savings and results that you showed?
Great question. So when we were launching this, it took about 2 weeks for us to onboard a dealer, do the integrations that were required. But happy to announce that we actually built a plug-and-play version of the product. I can sign up anybody here today, and you could start submitting information, and I can, depending on your CRM, I can put that information to your CRM right now. So the goal is that we can now come out and say, you want to try us out? Try us out for 7 days, and you'll see. Let's compare your CRM versus what I have put in there, and you'll see the value of what I'm giving you. So really, it'll take a day. And our training is simple. It's anybody, I'll take someone off the street right now and they can start selling cars. They're just using their phone, tapping a button, and then they just start talking. Thanks.
Zach, you had.
Are you trying to become a CRM company?
I always get that question. I look at it as the CRM needs context to do things. All of our AI systems need that. It's what I said at the beginning. AI is only as good as the data that you give it, and the way that we look at it is we can really empower those downstream systems. At the end of the day, dealers want one unified system, and we want to support them with that. And if we are partners who want our data, we can also connect with them. So at this point, we're not building a CRM. We're just building on what our customers need and what are their pain points, and we'll try to solve those things one at a time.
Everyone give her a hand. Thank you so much. Judges, go ahead and put your scores in your app. If you haven't already, y'all, open up your phones. We got one of these left. Open up your phones. Put in that 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit them with it. We're calculating the fancy scores in the back. If you haven't done it already, open up that app. We got one more. We're going to go slow clap for this one because this is the last content section of the day, all right? This is Hey Greenlight. Ready? Bring them up. Let's go.
I was say, where's my Top Gun music? What's the line? I got tone. I got tone. Is that what? Well, first off, let me apologize to those of you who've. This will be the third time you hear me talk about Hey Greenlight, so I'm going to say sorry in advance. But we're actually announcing some new products that are coming out next month at the end of this. So just to keep it fresh for y'all. Look, real quick. Our philosophy and our belief is that the human is the most important link in the chain at the dealership, oftentimes the weakest. Let's make them the strongest. We are building technology that is the Iron Man suit for Tony Stark. Real-time usage, real-time support. We are addressing two challenges. Sorry, this is a little pixelated. Look, as I said before, a lead comes in, you have no clue who that person is. But because of our partnerships with credit bureaus, credit card companies, everyone, we can tell you in less than 2 seconds, almost instantaneously in your CRM, who that person is, and we'll show you what we have. Second problem is that turnover. It's a cliche to say your salespeople are motivated, perhaps they're lazy. I ask, are they set up for success? That's what we want to do. There's turnover, there's training you spend. Do they use the training? Do they remember the training? Do you have to retrain them? Only for them to be gone in 3 to 6 months. Those are the two things that we really focus on. So basically, in that regard, because you don't know who the lead is, you actually get basically an email or phone number and then essentially a name. And that's it, a VIN. But other than that, you have no clue. This is we call it the CVS receipt. But basically, in that 2 seconds, you're going to find out that person's address, age, phone number, credit score, income, how far they commute to work. We can even tell you political party affiliation, all of the debt-to-income ratio, but also importantly, we can tell you how soon they're looking to buy. In 5 days, 50 days, 60 days, 90 days plus, we can project all of that based on the data we get, because then ultimately that's critical information that you need to better engage that person. And essentially, we build a psychological profile, because at the end of the day, a data dump leads to analysis paralysis, not helpful. So our AI, her name is Lane, stands for Lead Augmentation and Nurture Engine, builds an entire psychological profile on that person, including how to connect with them, do they play golf, do they own a boat, all these aspects to it. That then gets pumped into Wingman. So Wingman basically is a real-time, no delay, and some of you saw it, we did a live call, teleprompter that gives you specific scripts, what to say, and we also have outline mode, which features bullet points. So if you don't want to read the whole script, you can at least get the main points in there. In addition to that, we have the Lane Sales Assistant on the right, where basically anything and everything you want to engage that lead with is customized in that. So you can literally say, produce a PDF for me that compares this car she's considering or that car she's considering. And it'll do it all customized for that lead. Finally, what we're launching is Simulator, which is a training mode. So your new salespeople or anyone can use Wingman to learn in real time. We're also launching Sidekick. Sidekick is Wingman for any department. F&I, service, whatever you want. It'll instantaneously create a script and a teleprompter. And then finally, Wingman Studio, where you can actually record a video for that lead, personalized to that person. You know they have kids, you know they have a dog, you know they have a boat. Everything is going to be written on the screen. First, it's going to tell you how to set up the car, what to show, and then what to say.
We're
Done.
cutting it. We're
Done.
cutting it. We're cutting it. I gave him a little extra time.
I appreciate
All right,
that.
hit him with the questions, judges.
Yeah.
I just had a clarifying one. Actually, I really just stopped when you said you offered the Iron Man suit for Tony Stark.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again?
I stopped when you said you offer the Iron Man suit for Tony Stark. I actually just stopped listening. But do you offer that?
Do we offer
Is that the product? No. Okay.
in a metaphorical sense?
Are you guys integrating with the CRM? Is this a separate system, or is this some sort of back-end system that's feeding the CRM?
No, it's a great question. So usability and ease of use is so important. Previously I was at TrueCar, and even with all the tools that we had built to help that proved to grow close rate, never used, because you had to log in, you had to do this, you had to do that. So the way that we work, we have integration into basically all, so Techion, Drive-Centric, Vin, CDK, and basically when a lead comes in, we get that lead. We immediately build that psychological profile in 2 seconds. We send a link into the CRM. You click that link, it initiates Wingman. No login, nothing like that. It literally opens it, and it's all there so that it could be on your phone, it could be on a computer, but it's all built into the CRM that way. And then anything you send, so it also, in addition to the teleprompter, it does texts and emails, all of that, posted in and read from the CRM back and forth. Yeah.
What safeguards do you have in place to make sure that people are using all that data in the right way? And I'm not just randomly calling a customer with their debt to income ratio first thing.
So that's a couple of things. So on the marketing side, we have dealers who literally are like, I'm going to send you everyone in my DMS and CRM, build me profiles, get me information, break it out by marketing channel. We do that. We send it to them. And then on the conversational side, on the sales side or service side or any interaction with a customer, that's where Wingman comes in, where we don't show it, we don't show the information just raw, but it's all integrated into the email, text, and teleprompter so that it's more about saying, you might know that they have a dog, but you're not going to say, oh, I know you have a dog. But you're going to talk about features of the car, such as like the height of it, that's going to be relevant to someone with a dog. And it's going to, oh, and if you have pets, by the way, this is one of the lowest clearances of its class or its category. Yeah, things like that. So that's why we have Wingman to do that dynamically. Yeah.
So I'm going to go a step further on that one. Because, and I love things that are simultaneously sound so amazing and also so terrifying at the same time.
Sure.
So I'm going to say this. HeyGreenlight, do you have any red lights on what data you can and can't use, or how you transfer it or how you use it?
Yes.
And how many people inside HeyGreenlight, and I don't know how long you've been in business because I wasn't in your session, but how many people are focused on making sure that your solution delivers a solution to dealers that will help them with all these things, but also stay compliant with all the many different laws and regulations that they have to follow?
Absolutely. So a few things to unpack there, Beth. So number one, because of our data partnerships being the credit bureaus, credit card companies, retailers like Walmart, Amazon, Kroger, to insurance companies and government agencies that we get all of this information, we've probably spent more money on security and compliance in that than we maybe even have in development in terms of building the product that you saw. So we literally sequester all of that in a physical computer and that we basically cut off from the internet. It's only accessed as needed to sort of essentially pull the information in any given moment when we have a call. But basically, so we have all that. And then as far as access to it, it's basically a very small team of data scientists that we have who can basically utilize it, but it's fully kind of separated from it. And then any of the information that comes from the dealers through the phone calls or emails or DMS or whatever are all kind of also sequestered separately from each other in that regard. And so we've had to agree to SOC 2 and all these other compliance necessities because of those partnerships, because God forbid, it's like, consumer data from one of the agencies is leaked through us or hacked through us. Like we can't have that. Now, when it comes to the other part of your question, as far as what's the red lights and how do we use that, I would say that there's so much processing and so much analysis and data that we're actually doing in the back end that we don't show, that I would say the red light is ultimately we use it, but we're not going to necessarily reveal some of that information or how we've processed it. And one of the things that I mentioned in one of the other presentations was that we actually do full-on psychological analyses and personality assessments from that data. And some of that is tied into how you use your car, where you drive, what you buy, all that type of stuff that in reality, paints a picture about who we are. So then we run that through a psychoanalysis to understand this is your communication style, this is your DISC assessment, right? All those different things. And now we're also moving into things like Enneagram as well. And we then feed that into the emails, text, and teleprompter. Yeah.
Good work, Jake. I will be consistent with my questions today. How are you pricing these various modules?
Yeah.
And then how should the dealers in the audience be thinking about the ROI for that spend?
Yeah, so from a pricing perspective, it's a monthly subscription, unlimited usages, usage, unlimited seats. Basically, what you saw there with Wingman, $14.99 a month. Use it for anyone and everyone in the dealership. And that includes the signal data. So when you get your lead in, it includes appending that and building that psychological profile. As far as ROI, so dealers that are on us now are using it, typically are seeing about 60% more appointments when they use Wingman. Reason being is that better conversations. And the crazy thing is, Steve, is that the call duration is nearly double on Wingman than prior. And there's a direct correlation between call duration and appointment likelihood. There's also a correlation between call duration and likelihood to respond to texts and emails. I've built a relationship. You know me. You're going to respond to me now. Otherwise, you feel like a jerk, right? So that is so we have that as well. And then ultimately, what we're seeing is that with the more appointments being set, we also have a whole entire no-show prevention protocol that is customized to that person. Knowing how they live, knowing their family, knowing how busy they are, how we message them and make sure that they show up is personalized to them in that regard to make it more of to sell the value of the appointment and not make it sound like an inconvenience.
Are there hopes, or are you close? I saw that there's like the internal training tool, but
yes.
From moving to out of just sales and into the service department for advisors.
Yeah, so basically Wingman today works for variable and fixed, so you can use it in either. And then with the simulator, I mean, we actually got, the reason why we launched simulator is because we had dealers who said, this is just a great training tool. Like, and before I start, paying for really good leads to just train people on, let me just use Wingman as a simulator to train the salespeople with different scenarios, right? And you can customize scenarios. Like, you can literally pull in a psychological profile and how do you talk to someone like that, right? So there's that aspect. And that simulator can be used for every department. You can choose which department you want. You can choose a profile and then ultimately launch it. And then it'll tell you what to say. And then because my general feeling on it is this. I'm a golfer. If I go to the range and I hit 500 golf balls, but every single swing is garbage, I've just grooved in a really bad habit. Even if afterwards I send a video to my coach, he's like, oh, this is terrible. Like, you got to change these things. Okay, well, I already hit the 500 balls. The best scenario is to be hitting golf balls and having your coach right there saying, no, you got to do your wrist hinge this, you got to turn this way. Oh, okay, let me do it now. That's where simulator comes in. It's real time. It's telling you, no, this is how you respond, this is what you should say, and then grading you afterwards. And then Sidekick literally can be anyone. It could be a GM at a store being, I got to call a customer who's really upset. Let me type in their name, signal data pulls in, we know everything about them. Let me type in my objective, I need to make them feel better, and all those different things. Initiate Wingman, and it opens up Wingman, and it's going to tell me on the phone, I'm calling this person, she's really upset, like what to say.
Amazing. Hey, everyone, give him a hand. Throw your scores in. Steve's got to throw his scores in. Throw your scores in. Bring all the competitors back up. Bring them all. Stay up here with us. If you were just pitching, come on up. Come back. If you left, don't leave. Come back. I want to bring them up. Hey, make sure and get to know these people. All right. Look. I get to present on this stage. This is my 4th year. I know how it feels up here. This thing is daunting. I'm just telling you right now, it's a big deal. So for an early stage founder to do that, it's a big deal. Make sure you connect with them outside of here. Also, if you are an early stage company or any sort of startup company and you're looking to get a little bit more feedback from people like this, tomorrow morning, Steve, myself, a couple of these, will be hosting what we call Fast Start. And we'd love for you to have in there. It's an intimate little gathering in Studio 2 at 7 a.m. just to give a little bit of feedback, maybe give you a little bit of help on your pitch or understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, cry on shoulders because you churned more customers last month than you thought you were going to. We'll have that little heartwarming moment. And if you're a dealer in the room and you're looking to invest in products, not just for your store, but actually put money toward them potentially, there may be some in the room that are actually raising, and maybe these funds will open up at some point, and you can get in on some of those funds. So let me see. Don't put it on the screen because I've got it right here, Nathan. Let's see. Everyone is in. Everyone is in. The scores range from a 3.5, a 3.88, and a 4.22. Give me a drum roll. With the win and all the pride on Pitch Tank 2026, hey, Greenlight! Hey, thank you so much. Amazing first day of ASOTU Con. You all have been absolutely incredible.